Hello, I am in downtown Peoria, and as you may know, if you're from the region, this is where Bergner's got its start. I am sitting at the corner at Fulton and Adams Street. Had to look at the sign. And this is the corner where Bergner's was. And right over here, the original building obviously is not there. It is now a parking garage. It was closed. The Bergner's closed sometime in the mid '80s. Sat empty, was torn down, and now it is called One Technology Plaza, and it houses Robert Morris College, and then there's a little Jimmy John's there. So yeah, this is where Bergner's got its start. The building was built in 1889, and another Bon-Ton store competed with them, but back then they weren't owned by Bon-Ton. Across the way was Carson Scott. It started off as a block and cool, but then in the early 60s turned into a Carson Scott. So Bergner's and Carson's were across the street from each other. And this was a major shopping area up until Northwoods Mall opened up. And then just down the street, looking straight ahead at that museum there, that used to be Sears down there. So I am going to be chronicling all the sites that Bergner's had in Peoria, which was Madison Park, Shops at Grand Prairie, and Sheridan Village. And there was a Carson's at Northwoods Mall. So I'm going to be doing that then. This is another cool looking find here. This was a Montgomery Ward's building. This is one of them 30 style buildings. So it's nice to see one of those. A lot of Montgomery Wards back in the day looked like that. As you can see, it's a beautiful piece of architecture. This is on Liberty Street at Adams Street. Here's another example of a 30 style Montgomery Ward's building. It's located in Ottawa, my hometown. All right, and here is Madison Park Shopping Center. It's on the south and west side of Peoria, and this was the site of another Bergner store, but this was more of like a bargain basement type store. And I look at the Google Maps air photos, and I believe it was this site that's where the Bergner's bargain store was. If I'm wrong, just comment below. But this used to be a Kroger's as well, but Kroger's ended up closing in this part of town. So yeah, this is where the bargain basement was for Bergner's, and it closed in 1993. All right, and over there, that was when the mall was originally built in the 70s. This is Northwoods Mall, and this included a Carson Scott, and that is the site of Carson Scott. That closed in 1984, and then a few years later became St. Louis-based Famous Bar. And Famous Bar was part of the family department stores that included Marshall Field's and a bunch of other regional names that in 2006 turned into Macy's. And this Macy's ended up closing last year in 2017, I think. And now it's a round one. So this mall is anchored now by just a Sears, which of course we all know Sears is endangered of closing all their stores, or even just this one, and a J.C. Penney's. So with all that said, Peoria, a metro area of like maybe 300,000 people, is not going to have an upmarket store in this area after Bergner's closes. So So this, I'm not going to take a tour of this mall because this is heavily secured, because ever since this round one opened, there's been a lot of trouble. So my next stop is going to be the shops at Grand Prairie. Yeah, I know. I said I was going to the shops at Grand Prairie next when I was at the Northwoods Mall. I forgot about Sheridan Village. I can't believe it. Beautiful store. I mean, look at the aesthetics on that. It has the new sign, however, the newer logo and everything. This was built in 1958, and this was the second store in the Bergner's chain. Um, obviously the first being the downtown store, but I just drove like to the back, like on that back street that's back there, and there's a lot of vintage aesthetics back there. It also has the old sign back there, so I'm gonna take a ride back there and get some video of that. I mean, this is a neat looking store. I mean, it's too bad it's closed though. Okay, so this store was on the list, the original list of Bon Ton closures. There was like 40 stores closing. This store is already closed. Um, Again, this is the front of the Sheridan Village in the strip mall here. Um, yeah, very, like I said, it's a very vintage looking store. Um, so then the newer Bergner sign is up, obviously. Looks like they took the one off above the door off already. So I'm gonna go to the back of this now. Okay, and now I'm in the back of the Sheridan Village Bergners, and there's the original logo from 1958. I mean, that is super vintage. I mean, look at this. All the brickwork and everything. Everything here. It's all vintage. And looking on the inside over here, I mean, there's like a super vintage. I mean, you walk in and there's a staircase right there. I mean, that's the way department stores were built back in the day. And another set of stairs, looks like another set of stairs to like go down and everything into the store. This was a 3-level store. And then let me show you the back of the strip mall itself. I mean, this is very vintage back here. This was, like I said, this was built in 1958. Now they remodeled, they put new facades on the front of the strip mall. But check out the back of this here. I don't even think they touched it back here. Man, golly, it looks like a prison or something. Holy cow, there's like bars on the windows and everything. Look at that. It looks like they haven't even touched it back here. Alright, now I'm going to be going to the shops at Grand Prairie, and that store is going to get taped because it's the flagship store for the Peoria area. Here's an old directory and map of the Sheridan Village store. Hello, I'm at the shops at Grand Prairie Bergner's, and this is the flagship store for Bergner's. I'm gonna go ahead and take a tour of this. It looks like it's gonna be busy in there. So what I'm gonna do is I hate to do this, but it's gonna be a portrait because this thing's gonna go in my pocket, my front shirt pocket, and I'm gonna be as discreet as possible because this is an important store in the chain, and it does need to be documented, I think, in my opinion. So let's go in and take a tour of this store. It's a big one. Okay, so while I'm taking this tour, I'm gonna be playing some old Bergner's commercials that I found on YouTube.
get there. Nowadays, the man going places gets a head start at Bergner's Menswear, downtown and Sheridan Village. It's the lean, strong look of the natural shoulder from London Fog, here shown in the Andre style, just $50, in olive, bronze, black, and British tan. This is the all-season raincoat with a versatile zip-in, zip-out Bergner. Now in Bergner's Menswear, Sheridan Village, for the wet weather that lies ahead. When it comes to men's fashions, Bergner's has a history of leadership. Bergner's, turned on to today's tempo. Bergner's, turned on to today's tempo. At Bergner's, the point is value. Yes, the point is value at Bergner's. Regular stock, but priced low, like this best action jacket ever made, usually $13. It has raglan shoulders, half collar, pleated back style, even inside pockets. 4 colors, all sizes, only $7.90. Also at Bergner's, men's quality worsted suits, regular $85 to $105 values, now only $74. Superb Dacron polyester wool worsted suit, and a golfer's delight action jacket, priced low at Bergner's downtown and Sheridan Village, where the Village store is open Sundays noon to 5, and where the point is value.
Whisper sheer, belle charmier. One of the loveliest things a girl can do to her legs. Look again. These aren't ordinary belle charmier stockings. These are Whisper sheer support stockings. Sheer loveliness, but designed for buoyant support to get you through your day. Whisper sheer belle charmier support stockings, only $4.95 a pair now at Bergner's. Belle Charmier, finest name in hosiery, now creating a support stocking that's the essence of sheer luxury. Bergner's brings it to you at only $4.95 a pair. Belle Charmier support stockings, the kindest, loveliest thing you can do to your legs. Buy them now at Bergner's, downtown and Sheridan Village.
From fashions to fads, Bergner's has your favorites.
These are a few of
Okay, after I swing through this part of the department, I'm going to be heading down to the first floor. Okay, I apologize for the audio problems. I didn't realize how noisy a cotton shirt is with my phone in the pocket. So, that's why I was playing the commercials over all that. I'm going to continue playing some more vintage Bergner's commercials now.
Hello? Mrs. Smith, Mrs. Smith, just had to call you up. But my new hat. Where'd you get it? At Bergner. They're having a sale. I got one too. My dog too. Say Bergner stole hats for dogs. Yes, I do. Bergner has everything. They have everything. I'm going out and get a new dress. Me too. I don't have a thing to put on. Let's go out to Bergner's now. Okay. We got like dresses and shoes and purses and beads. I gotta hang up now. Go get the babysitter. Who are you going to get? My mom. Are you going to call the babysitter? No. All I have is my dog. Department store, we have elevators, escalators, bags that once were alligators. Dum dum, dum da dum, dum 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 dum. Bergner's is a nice department store. We have elevators, escalators, bags that once were alligators. Bergner's is a store for quality. Discover the wonderful world of Bergner's.
A nice department store, downtown and Sheridan Village.
At Bergner's, the little extras are very, very big. A team board, a child school, the cookie jar, gift wrap, charge plan, souvenirs, a smile. These are the little extras that go.
Okay, as soon as we hop off this elevator, we're going to Pekin. And this is the East Court Village Bergner's in Pekin. I think this was built in the 70s. It looks like the outside has been painted and has the new Bergner's logo on it. Last time I was here, it was almost 10 years ago, and it was like brown and it had like a very vintage look to it, and it still kind of does with those arches and everything. And it had the old Bergner sign with it. And then over there, I believe, is a restaurant for Bergner's. So that's it for the Peoria area Bergner's. My next stop is Galesburg. Okay, I believe this area to be the restaurant. I think it was. Not sure. This was on the I think it was the east side of the store, and there was like a separate room. So I believe that was a restaurant. A separate room, like right where the east entrance is. Now it's just filled up with fixtures. Very vintage looking Bergner. The house Yeah, this is a very vintage store. I mean, aside from like a few strokes of paint, I mean, it's just vintage. Now this area coming up, I should have got a little better. I think this might have been part of the restaurant too, I'm not sure. Be kind of a brief look in there, it kind of looked like it could have been a restaurant. I've only been to this store a handful of times. Here's the houseware section. Now this area is going to look very vintage. The floors look like the original floors. Look like you could find it in like a kitchen or something. I mean, you don't see floors like that in a modern department store. I mean, just look at that. It's like reddish and like orange and just 70s looking colors there. And there's like a stairway. I don't know where that goes. Probably like a storage area or something. I'm sorry about the audio problems. Again, the phone was in my pocket. I'm still learning I'm learning better techniques on discreetly recording stores. Like that Fox Valley Carson's video. I think I did a pretty good job of being discreet. I mean, the store was half empty, but look at like at some of these like archy looking beams and everything. Just a it screams out like vintage sets, like late 60s, early 70s. I don't know exactly what year this was built, but this was actually part of a mall called Pekin Mall, and then it was redeveloped. It was anchored also by a J.C. Penney's and a Sears. The Sears closed like 25 years ago. The Penney's closed like in the mid-2000s. And they redeveloped it into a strip mall, and the intention was to make it like a mini Shops at Grand Prairie. It's working a little bit, but I don't know. Now we're off to Galesburg. Here's here's another side of the Bergners. Look how vintage that is. Holy cow. I think this mall was built in like the early 70s, but wow, look at that. I mean, that's a vintage entrance. I think that's a beautiful store. It's too bad it's closing. Alright, and here's a picture of the Sandburg Mall, Bergner's, at Galesburg, Illinois. And after this one closes, the mall's gonna only have like one store left, and that's a GNC store. The rest of the mall is dead. It's not accessible. And this is another entrance to the Galesburg Bergners. I just want to thank you guys for watching this video. I know it was a rather lengthy video, but I think Bergner's needed its respect. Now, I've been reading some sources that all the Bon Ton stores are going to be just selling their stuff online, and maybe a few stores are going to open back up, Illinois included. I don't know the extent of it. I'm not going to delve into that because that's just what I read from some different sources. They do have an online presence now. If you go to carsons.com or bergners.com, you can shop there. My next video is gonna be, I did ended up doing the Shops at Grand Prairie back in Peoria, and I also have like a very brief stint of the Sandburg Mall. It's probably just going to be less than 5 minutes. As far as future projects go, I still have the Bon Ton slideshow of all the Illinois stores. I'm gonna probably get some better video editing software. Right now, I'm using PowerPoint. I want to make that superb, so it's probably gonna be a little bit before I get that released. And then pretty far into the future, I'm thinking probably before winter, I want to get to Southern Illinois, document a few malls down there, especially the Illinois Star Center Mall that's in Marion. I want to catch that before they decide to close that one down because there's literally no stores in there. Um, Again, I appreciate each and every one of you subscribers. I appreciate all the support and everything, all the comments that are being made. Please share these videos. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe and then click the bell icon, and that'll help you get notified of any new videos. On that note, God bless you, and please continue to shop your local mall.